Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to just this fun mixed media share, this gorgeous layout that at the beginning I really wasn't too sure about, and in the end I just love. So let me start by saying that I'm recording this on the 25th of August because I go back to work tomorrow. So I needed to get quite a few videos up and pre-planned and pre-recorded because the first couple of weeks of back to work, I'm always a little bit tired and often don't get a lot done. So I pre-recorded this on the 26th because just a couple of days ago, I went back into Vicki Boutin's fan page where she does all her Facebook Lives, and I rewatched a couple of the last Facebook Lives, and in particular, I spent quite a bit of time rewinding, watching her August 9th Facebook Live and tutorial, and it was just awesome, and I really wanted to try and do something similar. Now, I have the Vicki Boutin pigment powders on their way to me. I also have the new Wildflower and Honey, the complete collection, including the awesome beehive or honeycomb stencil that she used in that Facebook Live. All of that's on its way to me, but I really didn't want to wait, so I wanted to try this awesome technique that she did on the background. So I went into my stash with what I had in the meantime until all her lovely goodies get here. I do have the iridescent glaze already, so thankfully, there you go, I got that done. So what she did for her background is prepared a background and then did some sort of watercolor inking on top and a little bit of resist. So we started with a stencil. She used the honeycomb one and it's amazing. So what I had in my stash that was the closest to that is the Tim Holtz bubble. So I got that out. And then here's where, as she calls it, some of the magic happens. She mixed some iridescent glaze, some of her acrylic gel. I have the matte medium gel. I'm thinking it's a little similar. Anyway, we'll see once I have the real stuff. So mainly the iridescent glaze, a little bit of the matte medium. And then what she did is she took her pigment powders and mixed them into this mixture. So what I had, that was the closest, well, I didn't really know if it would be anywhere close, but I had these perfect pearls in my stash that I have had forever and ever, probably used once or twice way back when I got them, which is probably about 10 years ago, and thought, well, I don't know if they're pigment powders. I don't know what they are, but I figured, okay, it's a powder, so we'll give it a try. It's a powder, it's not an embossing powder, let's give it a try. So I did that, and what Vicki had done is she had mixed in some extra pigment as she went along to get a little bit of an ombre, or at least a two-tone look on her background. So I tried to do the same thing. So that's what I did. So I started by mixing the iridescent glaze, the matte medium gel, and this, which is called Sunflower Sparkle. And I applied that here on the top. And then when I got here to the middle, I added this, which is Perfect Copper, a little bit, so that I have here, if you can see a little bit closer, you have sort of the in-between color, and then into mainly the copper color. So I did that down here, and then I went over onto this side, and I did that. Now, I don't know, she is not messy at all, because all her sides of the white, this is foundations paper that I used. It was nice and clean. I couldn't get mine clean, so I figured if it's already all messed up, I might as well add splatters. So my background here is a lot messier than Vicky's one in that tutorial. So I let all of that dry, and then I went in. She used, again, she used just some pigment powders that she mixed with water to make a watercolor. Now, I should have or could have used my Vicki Boutin crayons, the art crayons. For some reason, I didn't think. But I have this Distress spray stain that I got in my Creative Cuts July kit, the blueprint sketch. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. A little bit full strength and mixed with water. So for doing sort of the smooshing or the kissing technique, I really mixed it with water to give it a little bit of a paler look. And I went and applied that all over my background. Let that dry just a little bit. And then I went in with a very slightly damp, hardly damp paper towel and buffed the stenciling, the texture that I had from the stenciling, and it worked. It worked exactly like Vicki said it would. I'm just so thrilled and excited. So I did that. Then I used some of this full strength to do some splatters. And I used some of these powders that I just mixed with water, since Vicki had done that with her pigment powders, and did some sprinkles. And then I added just a little touch of Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine, and there you go. So when I first saw this, I went, oh my God, look at that background. What am I going to do with this? It was like busy and bright. So in for a penny, in for a pound. So I tore some of the edges here and then distressed them to begin with and inked all around. Since this was all messy, let's just go way messier. And I had some lovely 49th and Market paper that was on my desk from a discovery kit that Christina had sent me. So I just cut a strip, backed where I had done the tearing with that, backed the whole sheet on this designer series paper from Stampin' Up! That I had in my stash. And there I went. And then it was, okay, where do I go from here? What photo? I auditioned a lot of photos, and I had, my original idea was a 4x4. And oddly enough, I put a 4x4 on there, and I didn't like the effect at all. I felt it really needed to be a longer, narrower photo. 4x6 seemed too big. I wanted to let this shine, and I wanted a small photo. So I had this photo of my nephew and his daughter from her Sweet 16 last year. And the way it had printed on my Canon selfie, it was sort of this odd sort of size, which is about maybe 2.5, not quite 3, I don't think, by about maybe not even 5. And it had printed in an odd shape. So I cut it out and I said, there you go. That is the exact size that this needs. There was sort of a hole here that really didn't have a lot of the lovely mixed media on the background, but just more of the messy splattering and kissing technique. So I put the photo there. That dictated where my photo went. As you know, I'm all for just when I get things there, I look for holes. That was a hole, so I put the photo there. Again, I felt that the background spoke for itself. I wanted it to shine through, so I didn't want to put too much, so I didn't do a lot of matting. Just a piece of vellum that I had in my stash, and a little bit of the B side of this paper that I used here from 49th and Market, the branding strip. And this is sort of all around on this side of the paper. There was sort of this distressed kind of darker colors in the blue, almost eggplant browns, and close to black colors. So I just did some strips there as though they were branding strips. And my first idea was to put them as a shelf And that's what I did, and then I felt that looked a little too square. And then one of my kitties, I don't know whether it was Chopin or Sophie, because Chopin's girlfriend is here staying with us for a couple of weeks, hopped up and sort of moved these around as he or she walked across the page, and that's how it sort of fell. And I went, oh, perfect. That's what I'm going to do. So just under here, I sort of I just grabbed it exactly the way it was, stapled it, put it here at a slight angle, put my photo on top, and there we go. That is the main design. And then I went into those scrap bowls on my desk, and I used some very, very, very old scraps in the golds and copper. This was a flower, something I had made for the fun of it. Oh, I think this must be 2 or 3 years ago, and I didn't really like the outcome, but you know what? I just punched out the flower, put it in my bowl, and said, you know what? Maybe someday I'll use it. Cut it in half, tucked it in here. This was part of a die cut that was left over. These are punch shapes that I had from some copper metallic cardstock. I have a heart and a star. Some vellum that I had, and I punched out some flowers at some point for another project. This, I don't even know how long this might have been in my stash. And I just thought, you know, I'm just going to put these few little things in a deconstructed manner, not to fill up too much of the background, just to bring out those sort of copper and gold colors and give a little bit of a finish to the layout. Tuck this, I had this sort of little piece left over, put it there, punched out an arrow. This was in my die cut bowl, Spread Your Wings, because for Adela's Sweet 16, they did a little 4-day father-daughter trip to Paris. She didn't want a big party, no present. That is what she wanted. And so this is a picture of them in front of the Eiffel Tower. And I just put here, hashtag La Tour. In French, La Tour Eiffel, as in V. But La Tour, the way I used it here in French, is more like the one and only tower. So hashtag La Tour. And these are some lovely thickers that I got. Again, the foam with that little chipboard. I just love that American Crafts. You're doing great. Stick with it. You've got a winner here. They stick. We get the advantage of chipboard and the lovely easily maneuverability of foam and the stickiness of foam. Awesome. My Happy Place little thickers here for the 2018. And there you have it. So that's my layout. I had so much fun playing on Friday afternoon. I'm going to do this again. I can't wait for the real stuff to get here, the pigment powders and the acrylic gel, and I'm going to do this again. So thank you for joining me. Do you love getting messy? How do you do your mixed media? Do you love getting a messy background? Do you like your mixed media to be maybe a little bit more controlled? Do you do the packaging technique, or do you apply it more like a brush? Do you work with stencils? Tell me, how do you use mixed media in your projects? And I will be back again soon with another project. And I'm going to link, just in case you haven't discovered Vicki's fan page, I'm going to link it below, because every Friday night she has an awesome Facebook Live when she is in town. And I might just get the gumption up to post this in her community page. So I will see you all again soon. Thank you for being here. As always, I love reading your comments. Thank you for subscribing. Give this a thumbs up if you like this kind of video. And I will see you soon. Bye.